Hello guys, this is Avcore, and I would like to make this announcement that my Bernie is moving into a more offensive role in the Empire faction. The main reason is because this young lady, Hilda. Hilda right now actually has lower defense than my Bernie, 380, but she's only like 5 stars, so that's not bad. But her kit is like way more defensive than Bernie's on. In fact, when she has two or more buffs, then all damage taken is reduced by 20%. So this is one of the key aspects of her kit. Along with when taking fatal damage instead of dying, 40% of your HP is restored. That's kind of stupid. 50% at 6 stars. So there's really no reason for Bernie to tank anymore. In fact, there's someone who's far better at the job. So my Bernie has to go down a more offensive route. I'm trying to get him there, but I'm finding that these stones, man, these are kind of limiting me. Like the enchants are somewhat okay, but if you saw my other videos and you looked at my Bernhardt and Brave, most of this is maxed out. So I'm starting from scratch. But it's kind of worth it because I noticed that Bernhardt actually is a very competent damage dealer. I mean, they even changed the wording on his skill. I guess they're getting ready. Upon entering battle, damage dealt plus 20%. That's incredible. And when you stack that on top of his 3C, which we'll talk about in a couple of seconds, it's pretty good. And all enemy units within 2 blocks suffer 15% attack and defense. So that's why I changed his equipment set. This is getting replaced with the Mjolnir, the hammer. Let me see where it's at. Somewhere down here. Yeah. But it's only 12% attack, so it is what it is. But there's a reason for that. The reason why I'm changing to Mjolnir is that when you bring this dude into Apex Arena, once his 3C gets ready, you're pretty much like tempted to go many routes with Bernhardt. And I'll show you real quick. The 3C Iron Blood Ambition, which is one of the best 3Cs in the game, because it's actually a faction buff, so that increases his potency. Passive, after attacking with a normal attack, deal 0.1 AoE damage to all enemies within 1 ring. This effect can only occur every 3 turns. That's not bad, considering that since it's a 3C, you're going to carry another passive, and most of the time it's going to be Rupture. So you'll always have Rupture, and this is just the icing on the cake. So that's really, just starting out, that's really good. Fusion Power. All Empire's Honor units receive attack, and stuff like that. That buff that everybody gets from faction buff, as well as the effect. When entering battle, damage dealt plus 18%. That's super good. That is super good. Compared to damage plus 20% against enemies of which you have a class advantage, which is really good, but this is for everybody. This is damage dealt plus 18% when you're attacking. So oddly enough, this Bernhardt actually benefits a single target team. His faction buff does. So if you're attacking with Sonya or Leon, or even your boy Leonhardt, when he does his air slash technique, they're gonna get a bonus from this. Damage dealt actually applies to soldiers as well, so their soldiers in themselves will actually increase in damage, which is basically getting a little bit of the single target buff that most good single target characters get in their talent. So that's amazing of itself. That makes it an amazing 3C right there. So far so good. It can't be stacked with other faction buff, who cares? But you give yourself Iron Blooded Ambition, movement plus 1, which is like great. So if you had 3 movement, you have 4. But my Bernie runs Apex boots, so he'll have 5. Damage dealt plus 15% on top of that, so that's 30% damage dealt to his troops and himself, which is insane. So your sword dance range gets 1, which means if I bring the Mjolnir, even Seal Guardian, I'll have like basic balance blade AoE range. So that's really good. And if this unit has Iron Fist equipped, then physical damage taken minus 25%. This is actually makes him a competent tank in PvE content. The problem is like when he's going up against Elwyn and other people, he's gonna suffer. So like he can be a good off tank, but you can't like go against magic since physical damage taken is minus 25%. And the weird part is, as long as this unit has Iron Fist equipped, so it doesn't matter. It can't get dispelled, which would make you want to make Bernie a super awesome tank. But the sucky part is that there's better tanks for the job. As an off tank, he would do exceptionally well. But he's got all this other stuff. It's like you can't like Bernie can only do like 2 things out of the 3 things that he can do: AoE damage, single target damage, and tanking. I chose the route of single target damage and AoE. So if I get desperate, I can use this, but there's better tanks. But this physical damage minus 25% is unreal. Somebody was like smoking something when they made this 3C, but I'm so glad because I'm a Bernie fan, so it doesn't matter to me. And shield badge range +1, which is, if you use it right, it's really good. So all of this is good. Iron-blooded ambition cannot be immunized and dispelled. But gain hegemony. You always have hegemony. So you can actually stack it on top of hegemony, and you can strip 3 buffs away with Mjolnir. That's why I'm choosing it. Because like, since I don't run a clock set, I can't like clock Bernie. You can run a clock set on Bernie and it'll still be good. But I just want the movement. So my Bernie is pretty much a single target, mainly single target, secondary AoE Bernie. If you have Balance Blade Bernie, he's mainly AoE, then secondary single target Bernie, because the Mjolnir actually gives you 10% more attack, and Balance Blade actually gives you more defense. So, like, Balance Blade gives you the defense, but this is the type of Bernie I'm building. And I want to use him in PvE content because he's a really good single target attacker. And since my Elwyn doesn't do the sword thing anymore, I'm going to need somebody to pick up the slack. And even in my faction, I mean, you look at single target attackers, you got this guy, this guy, this guy, but these 2 guys are horses. This guy's AoE, this guy's a single target attacker, but he's a flyer. AoE, AoE. I don't have him, but he's a single target attacker. She's a AoE attacker. This is a tank, AoE, healer, single target, but she's a horse. Single target and AoE, but he's a flyer. AoE, healer, tank, single target, but he's a cav. When he becomes SP, he can do both. He's a wizard. Lance sucks. He's a good support guy, but I mean, like, as far as a dedicated damage dealer, you gotta have like mixed troops and all the other garbage, so it's whatever. So AoE, single target AoE, single target tank, single target AoE, single target and AoE, more AoE to an extent, healer, I guess AoE, single target, but he's an R, healer, single target, but he's layered, support. So there's no like single target sword unit right now in the faction, and Bernie actually is the best one now with his 3C. So that's why I'm doing that. There's other videos from like people like Sweet Dango who play in the Chin server, so they have like a different understanding. But when I like looked at their videos, I pretty much understood it because I played Bernhardt so much. Like Bernhardt can only do 2 things out of the 3 things you want him to do. So if you build Bernhardt, you're either going to build him as a tank, single target attacker, and last but not least, AoE attacker. But there's a 4th aspect of support, since he's always going to carry a faction buff. But nowadays, like the boxes are so like diverse. Like you may have like 4 or 5 units from a faction in a box, since people just play the best units, and like the units have so many internal buffs and stuff that they really don't care about the supposed synergy of the box, maybe to a limited extent. Like Himiko, nobody buffs Himiko anymore, but she still played, so it's things like that you have to consider. But the box I'm wanting to run is going to be more Empire, and later on probably single target, who knows. But anyways, if you like my content, the like, share, subscribe button, and I'll get back to you. Have a great one, and goodbye.